Hey, what's going on, everyone? Mike Chase here, back again with Madden 25 franchise deep dive thoughts. A bit disappointing, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I think we can all agree that was probably disappointing. I think there's been a lot of people kind of being a little nice. I don't know if nice. There's some nice things in here, right? Talk about nice. I think right here in this video you see it, the draft presentation stuff. That stuff's really cool. Remember the video? I don't know if any of you do, but I did do a video talking about some thoughts I may or may not have had after maybe not playing the beta or not. I talked about how outside of the draft presentation, outside of the new way that you can actually sort through, this new sorting thing is actually really cool. As someone who's used it, or I've heard from people who have maybe used it. It's really cool. It's really easy to kind of like, if you're looking for receivers, I want to find the quickest guys. You can do that now. If you're looking for defensive tackles, I want to find strength. You can do that now. Who has, good block shed ratings? You can kind of do that now. It's really easy to kind of, you don't have to like dig through all of these little player profiles and try to like sparse through them, and you can kind of just get a quick, easy look at it. I think it makes the draft a lot easier to do for a lot of people. So was able, I've heard from people who were able to have really successful draft classes after not really scouting anything. And that's kind of one of my disappointing things here about Madden 25 is I was really hoping we were going to see a scouting update. I believe they updated the scouting in Madden 22. 21, I'm not 100% sure on that. It's been a few years since they updated the scouting. You remember we had the old scouting where it was kind of almost like how it is in NCAA, where you just kind of, or in the current college football game, where you just kind of hit, X a few times and you get to view a few key attributes, and then you move on to the next player. It was that for a long time, and we definitely needed an update from that. But it feels like we've gone a little too far away from that now, where it's more, again, to me, it really is just a lot of just set it, forget it, hire your scouts, and they'll handle all of it. And that's just, honestly, to me, really boring. It kind of does take away some of the, these are virtual players, right? But it does kind of take away some of that human element that I think that you kind of want to be able to have in for immersion purposes. You see these new records. These are rookie season records are now in the game, and those will pop up in the presentation. So that's pretty cool too. Again, there's some nice things in here. The main menu for franchise mode has been completely redone. They added female coaches. Nice. But, again, really outside of that, man, there's just not a lot there, and I felt like they just kind of kept repeating themselves. There's some new scenarios, those are cool. It'll be easier to, for young superstar players, they'll progress faster. Hopefully that doesn't mean just for the user. I hope that means actually for the AI, because one of the biggest issues with the AI, it felt like, is that young players just never reach that star level. It felt like, honestly, you would almost have to go in there yourself and then kind of up players, give them superstar X factor, give them the abilities. You'd have to, there's multiple times where I had to go in myself and go to these young players and up their stats, up their ratings, because they just weren't progressing fast enough. They weren't progressing how they should progress. I think certain players, you can tell they're going to be great star players pretty quickly, and you'd have to go in there, again, myself, and do it. Another thing that's not in here that really desperately needed to be in here was kind of that updated positional terminology. Defensive end, outside linebacker, those are kind of just old terms that just aren't used anymore. They need to be updated. You can talk about some of the things in the deep dive that talk about how they've made updates to the AI and how they build teams and things like that. And that may all be true. I feel like we hear that every year. Some of their logic and things like that. Maybe it is really updated. Maybe they will be able to actually manage a cap a bit better. Maybe they'll actually be able to manage their roster a bit better. We won't see the Kansas City Chiefs just completely decimated, because that seems to always happen. It seems like they just never keep that roster up. That is a complicated process in real life, but again, my issue with the player terminology, again, is you're going to have teams drafting guys out of position, right? you're going to have teams that are drafting an outside linebacker that's an edge rusher primarily, right? So if he gets drafted to a 4-3 team or gets signed by a 4-3 team, that linebacker is going to play in coverage. He will have bad coverage stats. So by year 3 of your franchise, you're going to see all of these players just out of position. And then you have to go in yourself and fix it yourself. The game isn't smart enough to make those position changes on its own. And I didn't hear anything in this deep dive that says that the AI is going to be able to make those positional changes where it will recognize, okay, this guy is an edge rusher. He needs to be put in kind of the edge rusher category. You could fix this by just introducing, in terms of the positions in the game, by just introducing edge. You would fix that, right? You would just go to edge. Instead of outside linebacker, you would have edge. And then you just have linebackers, right? Those guys would just play in coverage. You just have linebackers. Instead of having middle linebacker, right outside linebacker, left outside linebacker, you just have linebacker, right? And then you just have edge for edge rushers. Then for defensive linemen, you just have defensive linemen. And then if you wanted to, you could just include nose tackle too, right? So there's just, I feel like that would be such a simple change that would greatly improve the game. As opposed to where we are now, where, you know, by year 2 or 3 of your franchise, things will be all screwed up. So that's one of the main things I'm disappointed about. I'm disappointed that we didn't see anything about scouting being updated. I don't think scouting's in a position where you can just kind of leave it for 3-4 years and act as if it's fine. As if things are all hunky-dory with the scouting. It's not. It needs to be changed. It needs to be updated. The scenarios or whatever, take it or leave it on those. Cool. I'm glad they're building upon something, actually, as opposed to in the past where they would introduce a feature like that and then we would kind of just never see it updated. It kind of felt like that was going to be the case for a few years there. And they have updated it this year, so that's a positive. The draft presentation is a positive. Hopefully superstar young players progress faster. That's a positive. There's a few positives here, but I don't feel like there's a whole lot. You know, again, it's not like, I'll give them credit. They've gotten franchise mode into a point where it is a very nice playable mode. I do think there's a decent gameplay loop to it. So I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's where we're at with like Madden 18, like with Madden 17, where it's just like this mode just flat out sucks and you don't want to interact with it. I think, you know, I think it's better, you know, than that. I'm hearing a lot of people say, you know, maybe this is, you know, this is a foundational year. I felt like last year we were sold it was a foundational year. And so to come back now and hear, well, it's a foundational year again, that feels a little weird to me. Like, it just does. So, yeah, man, you can go read the deep dive yourself. There's Team Builder. Completely almost forgot about that. There is Team Builder in the game. So that's cool, but instead, you know, again, there's no expansion. So you do have to take out a team. And so that's a little disappointing because, you know, I understand why you would have to take out a team in college football because there's 130 some odd teams. It would make sense that you would have to take one out to kind of put in a new team. For this, though, I was like, you know, so I'm going to, you know, I was like, really? We have to take out a team? We can't just add one in? Add a few in? Like, would that really screw with the sim engine that much? Also, another thing, we didn't hear anything about the sim engine getting an update, right? So is the sim engine still based on the playbooks? So if the sim engine is still based on playbooks, then all this stuff about, you know, AI progression and AI team building is moot because everything is still going to be based upon what playbook plays nicely with the sim engine. So again, kind of my disappointment there. I would have loved if the only thing they did for Madden 25 franchise mode was a completely revamped sim engine, I would have been happy. Honest to God, if that was the only thing that was updated for franchise mode, was the sim engine, I would have been ecstatic, because I think that is one of the biggest hindrance to the Madden franchise experience right now, is the sim engine. It's a little bit of a hindrance to college football right now, but that's kind of a new thing right now. It's not too bad. I feel like there's a few tweaks you can see them making to getting that kind of locked in. But this has been bad for years. It's just, you give everyone the same playbook, and then everyone throws for, 5,500 yards and 50 touchdowns and things like that. So, again, the sim engine can't be playbook based, and we didn't hear anything about that. So, a little disappointed about. Really disappointed about that. Like, honestly, if you gave me a list of things and said, all right, you only get one thing to get fixed, would have been that sim engine. Would have absolutely been the sim engine. And we didn't see that. So, look, reading through that deep dive, there's nothing in here where it talks about the sim engine getting an update, getting a fix. So, that's really disappointing. One of the things about the storylines is apparently there is one about if you draft a quarterback, you can sit him for a year, and if you sit him for a year, he'll get a boost to his, I believe dev traits and XP and things like that. He'll get a big boost for his second season. That's cool. Honestly, that's a cool thing. Like, that's a thing that we've seen happen in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, right? So if you want to kind of simulate that model in your franchise, there's potentially going to be a positive for you to do that instead of getting them on the field right? They might get more XP than they would get if you played with them for a year. I think that's really cool. So that, again, there's some cool things in here. There's some things in here I really like. But there's just not a lot here. The new franchise menu is nice. But, the social media tab is the same social media stuff that we've seen for years in the game as well. So it's like, okay, cool. Again, Super Bowl presentation, new celebration animation, cool. We still have these same animations right here at the game at the start where the players are like in this void of staring at each other. It looks weird. It looks goofy. The facial animations in this game aren't good enough to, I think, warrant us seeing these guys without their helmets in a blank void with a video wall backing them. Get that out of the game. It doesn't look cool. It doesn't look good. Just, for the love of God, someone just watch a Fox broadcast, watch a CBS NFL broadcast, watch a NBC NFL broadcast, watch an ESPN NFL broadcast, and just copy what they do. Don't get rid of the blank void these guys are always standing in, please. So there it is. That's my thoughts on Madden 25 franchise mode. It's a mixed bag. I think it kind of veers more into the disappointing than the, again, it's disappointing that there's nothing major being added in that regard. I'm someone who does think franchise mode is in a better place than it was 5-6 years ago. It's still not where it needs to be. I get the whole, this is a building year, but I'm getting, maybe it's being impatient, but I feel like we've heard it's a building year, we're building blocks, the building blocks. I feel like we've heard that now for 3 years now. And so it's kind of like, it's excuse my language here, it's either time to shit or get off the pot. Madden 26, in my opinion, and I can't believe we're already talking about Madden 26, 25's not even out yet. Well, technically it is, but you know what I mean by that. It's time to shit or get off the pot. We need to see some big updates to this mode next year. We just do, or yeah. I mean, we just do. It's past the time. We need to see some big updates here in 26, or might be time to give up that license. It might be time to give up that exclusive license. If you can't, come on. Again, like, I hate to sound negative because I'm not that negative on it, right? Like, there's some good stuff here, right? There's a few good things here, but these are like a few good things, and if there was like one other big thing, I would be ecstatic, as opposed to it's just a few little things and that's it. It's like, really? Like, like, where's, like, these are like the appetizers. Where's the meat and potatoes here? There's really nothing here that can kind of satisfies that right now. So there it is. Those are my Madden 25 franchise thoughts. It's not terrible. You know, I kind of echoing that my same opinion that I echoed in that video that EA decided to copyright strike, where I basically said, you know, there's some good things in Madden franchise mode, but if you're expecting a really big feature, you're going to be kind of disappointed. I'm echoing those same thoughts now, but, you know, just a month later, so is what it is on there. What do you guys think of franchise mode right now? To me, it's a little disappointing. I was expecting, well, I wasn't expecting a lot more recently, but before, you know, I was kind of expecting something big here to be added to the mode, and we were not really getting that this year. So draft presentation, some progression things, better ways to view the draft board, some updated presentation features. That's about it for franchise mode this year. So what do you guys think of that? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.